And welcome back. We're with John Savage, from deer hunter to hunting to...
Hair.
Yeah?
We were talking about Hair.
Yeah.
Yeah. Great musical. It really captured a spirit. And a lot of people and younger people identified with the American spirit through the musical Hair. I remember they showed it in Russia at the time, which was a big step. And countries like Hungary, and young people became very motivated by the spirit of the music and Hair. Of course, Deer Hunter, ironically, was played in Russia, and it was identified with, eventually, there was, we had that effect on our whole society from a war, Vietnam War. They had it, Afghan War, and we're going through that situation now, the effect on our country again, on young soldiers. It affects, the ripple effect of war is just terrible. It just affects, there's no winners, and except for maybe the financial area, which gets me angry sometimes, the manipulation of finance for the benefit of a few. And whether it's energy industries or or like uranium or whatever, those influences on power structures. I wouldn't say even governments, because there's an elite few in some governments now. I just think their effect is causing us to lose our own sense of our nations and governments. And you look at the uprising, like in Iran, with this vote. That's those people that are too young to know it's impossible, and want to have a voice, and they will. And it's it'll happen here this summer, but hopefully not too violently, where people will be coming who have not had a voice in our own country for 8 years. The younger people especially, unfortunately, might burst with their desire to express themselves, and it can become more violent than necessary sometimes. But it's a wonderful democracy here, and I think we have the freedom of speech as a gift. It's a special opportunity to use and not abuse.
Do you regard yourself...
Wow, did I just go way off?
That was really good. I mean, it was...
am I left or right wing? I've never kind of figured that out.
I think you're left. You're very, very left, but a good right.
Yeah.
Do you regard yourself as an activist or an actor?
I'm an actor, and I talk, a lot. A lot of times I think I'm the director when I'm not, or the cinematographer when I'm not, or a social worker when I'm not. But I've worked with wonderful groups and people all over the world, which is because of this industry. Just met wonderful people, great, in Australia, in South Africa. My second wife is South African. My ties to Italy and Ireland were thanks to my first wife. Wives have a great influence, I think.
Well, they do have an influence.
And the kids are just amazing. I've met other people's kids, and kids without parents, and become involved. Whether I'm a leader or a follower, I'm probably more of a follower and supportive of people who do take more active involvement with community. And I've loved my time, being able to spend time making movies, and then staying in a place for a long time and getting to meet people and go places and take part in that community activity area, like in Australia. I mean, people have gone through a lot of changes there, like us.
Yep.
In South Africa, same thing. And, right now, we're going through major, great advances. And it's a little confusing and fearful, and I think we're going to have to admit that we're actually going through a great opportunity again to make some corrections in politics and industry. People actually have, a power and a place to speak or make an active effort to influence those areas. What?
That's really good.
You're supposed to be David Frost.
No, I'm enjoying this. This is your
Fareed Zakaria.
the philosophy of John Savage.
You're like an old buddy that I've met
Old, not so old.
years ago
Not so
and
old.
come back to see again.
Haunt.
Mike.
Yes, haunt.
Yeah.
Haunt.
Haunt.
Yeah, it's great.
We're both sober now, though.
We are. Speaking of haunting, you're also in the X-Files. Do you like this sort of stuff? I mean, you got the X-Files and Star Trek Voyager, Dark Angel.
The X-Files was fun.
The truth is out there, isn't it?
The truth is out there. The wonderful actress Rebecca De Mornay directed An Outer Limits and wrote one that I thought was exceptional for that series that I got to be a part of. Rebecca De Mornay made me think of Jessica Alba. Why? I don't know.
But we often do that.
Because Dark Angel was innovative and was not really, I don't think, appreciated by the network that it started out with as much as it could have. And I like the fact that it was generations in this imaginary time, which is actually now. But then it was suggesting certain activities in the world and effects on our country, and it took it to a level of, fantasy. The effect on a younger generation. I was saying they don't know that things are impossible, so they'll see the right and wrong in their way and take their action their way. And a lot of times the same things they're fighting against are people who have had experience and agree with the changes necessary, but don't see the active effort in that particular way is the right way, so there becomes conflict. Now, the trick is always to get those two to work together for constructive change. And if you understand that, I'm starting a militia.
We'll come back in a second. We'll find out about John Savage's militia and other interesting facets of the life of John Savage.